Israeli poet Rachel had a famous quote. She said, "It's only about myself whom I really know to tell about." And while I was preparing for this talk with quite an excitement, I kept asking myself, what is the topic of this talk? I couldn't put my finger on one subject, but I knew for sure that the only way for this talk to be hopefully interesting for you is by me being totally transparent and honest about who I am and what brought me here today. I was born in Israel, quite fragile place indeed. This fact has probably shaped my personality quite a lot. I mean, being a struggling artist in the Middle East is quite a dramatic story to tell. But can this fill up the whole talk? I was a very restless kid with a lot of energy. This energy sometimes threatened to destroy me. So being introduced to the drum kit at the age of 10 was quite a relief. But I wasn't sure that this was the vehicle to fulfill my dreams. My dreams by that time, unexpressible, bigger than life. Age 14. First time that I appear on a major stage on a musical youth contest. And that's the moment of revelation. I love the stage. I love drumming on stage. So maybe this is the topic of our talk. All hyperactive kids should start drumming right away. When I was 16, the family relocated to Paris, France, following my dad's work. For me, my dream is already clear. I want to become a world-famous drummer. So moving to a cultural capital can only do me well. But the clash with the reality was devastating. While I asked myself to practice 8 hours a day in the basement of Conservatoire de Musique de Courbevoie, a grey suburban city near Paris, there's someone else inside of me far from being happy or fulfilled. I am 19 years old. It's the 21st of June, the longest day of the year. And in the French-speaking country, fête de la musique, day of celebration of music. Music is everywhere. Musicians are very busy. Except of myself. Nobody called me that day to come and perform. Self-esteem tends to zero. How can it be that I'm practicing 8 hours a day, dreaming, working, sweating? Nobody calls me. Maybe I'm in the wrong business. Maybe I'm not talented enough. I won't forget the moment after when I decided, well, you know what? Despite that fact, I am going to play tonight. I am going to play. Whatever will be, will be. My good friend, Alex Katarsi, agreed to accompany me on the percussion. And we both placed ourselves in Boulevard Saint-Germain in Paris. That night turned to be an amazing success with thousands of people around us cheering and enjoying our music. Thank you very much. After that night, I tried to play in the street of Paris a couple of more times, but it was strictly forbidden. Age 21, I'm exhausted of trying to become a successful session player in Paris. That means a musician who works for whoever call him and pay. And so I'm returning home to Israel, feeling very much defeated. But it was those days in France, in Paris, France, who shaped me as an eternal traveler and someone who never stops wandering. In Israel, I studied classic percussion, and I'm paving my way into the local music business. And now that I become a rather busy session player, I find myself unsatisfied and not in my right place in being a backing drummer for pop singer. I'll give you an example of why it didn't work. Age 28, I decided to go on a road trip to Africa. Why Africa? I fell in love with African culture back in Paris and had to go and witness on my own eyes to see what is the African magic. And so I live, and what I mainly did in Africa was to contemplate people. People with nothing in their pocket, not much to eat, playing their drum or their instrument 10, 11, 12 hours under the burning African sun, and by that redeeming their soul. I also learned in Africa that the power of will is more important than the power of skill. 100 times more. Like said the greatest fighter of all time, the great Muhammad Ali. I discovered Ali in Africa by watching his movie When We Were Kings. And I knew that Ali's legacy will become instrumental in helping me overcoming my deepest fear, venturing on an international music career once again. Back from Africa, I keep hearing in my mind, I am the greatest, because I truly believe that each and every one of us is the greatest in being themselves, and that unless we fulfill our full potential, we won't get any rest. And so I decided to go and live to London. And why London? I love the music coming from London. And there's an unfulfilled love story waiting for me there, or so I thought. In England, I played the drums for a Jewish wedding band until one day on a day off in Manchester, I asked my good friend Omri Shai, Omri, can you help me? I want to put the drums in Piccadilly Garden, the city square, and I want to play. He said, yes, sure, let's do it. So we do it. I just wanted to express myself. And the result was overwhelming. People gathering around, enjoying what I do. They also especially enjoyed the fast beat tempo groove I was playing called drum and bass. Coming from England, drum and bass is a groove especially for drummers. Like drum and bass for a drummer is like what jazz is for the saxophone player. While I'm playing in Piccadilly Garden, a police officer arrived and said, "Sir, I was sure that that was it, that it's finished, the fun is over." He said, "Sir, that's very good, but could you please kindly move 20 meters to the left because we have a mother who tried to make her baby fall asleep." He shakes my hand and leaves. I knew that was it. That was a life-changing moment. From that day on, I toured the country, city by city, playing for hours for the amusement of the people and the disamusement of the shoppers. I also realized and discovered that I feel very free to stand up and entertain, dance, tell some jokes. I ask the people to come closer to my drums on every show because I want them to feel the vibration of the drum and to be more engaged in the show. By the way, this tip I learned from my good friend Joe Bucket, fantastic drummer from London. Thank you, Joe. And so, at the same time, social media growing bigger and bigger. And so videos of myself playing all around, everywhere, showing up. And including this video of me playing in the city center of London with over 1 million views. Half of the views, my family and myself clicking the link. The other half are authentic, I swear. Now, please remember, the internal struggle was considerable. I asked myself, am I crazy to play in the street? Is this the reward for all the hard work, 22 years of practicing the drums, and I'm a street performer? But no matter how confused or lost I felt on a foggy afternoon in London, the moment I decided to go out there and play, the moment I drove my car, set up my drum kit in the street, the moment I started to play, all my trouble vanished. I could drum the world, I could drum my trouble away and be free.
I'm like a machine, inhuman feet, man. People know me, try to get you for some dog. To represent the power of no me. Never I know my soul, get back to believing. Never I know my soul, get back to believing. Never I know my soul, get back to believing. Never I know my soul, get back to believing. Never I know my soul, get back to believing. I know my soul, get back to believing. Never I know my soul, get back to believing. Never I know my soul, get back to believing. I know my soul, get back to believing. Never I know my soul, get back to believing. 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 I know my soul, get back to believing.
My popularity grows bigger and bigger in London. People start to really pay attention to what I do. One day I even got a free coffee from a waitress who recognized me from the street show. And while they told me to let you laugh, I'm going too quick. Thank you. While this is all going on, there is a very, very dramatic news on its way to me. The news is that my artist visa for the UK won't be prolonged, and I have to leave the country immediately. That means that after 5 years of hard work, I just have to go. I was devastated. That was probably one of the most dramatic news in my life. No other solution was at hand, else of going back to Israel, going back home, defeated. In Israel, my street music career didn't prosper. I think by that time I understood that I am doomed and bound to keep on traveling, being a nomad, someone who plays everywhere. And so I live to the unknown like a rolling stone and started to tour Europe. Until one day I find myself heading to a country I'd never planned to move to, Germany. In Germany, I find that people go out of the way to make me feel comfortable and welcome. And so a relation is built between the audience and me. And I'm feeling myself very privileged to be living in Hamburg today. What's next? A month ago, I was performing in Los Angeles. Next week, we are traveling to Delhi for a percussion festival to India. My dream is to drum the world and bring happiness and joyfulness wherever I can. And if there's one thing I would like to say, is the following. For some of us, it might be very hard to find out what we are not. But once we find out what we are not, we are left with concentrating on what we are. I wish each and every one of us to be brave and strong and to be the greatest in being themselves. Thank you for your time.